Hello and welcome to Trade with Jay. Today is October 10th, 2025, and here's a weekly recap of our trades for the month of the first week of October here. Um, yeah, just to kind of go through the trades that we have had so far this week. There were four losses and then four wins, and we are at $1,200 for the week so far. We went through all of these trades together during this week. We sent these trades on pending orders to our signals group. As always, our signals are pending orders plus 1.5 risk to reward ratio or 2 risk to reward ratio always. And so this is why even if we have, four losses and four wins, we are still up because of that risk to reward ratio. I wanted to go over a couple of trades that we just had profits on. So the first one is the Euro USD. This is this trade right here. Really quickly, this was open last Friday, if you guys remember. And this was maybe on a daily chart. It took us about a week for us to get here, but we were finally able to close with profits. I think yesterday. So great trade right here. It was a $750 trade right there. And then the other trade was that we opened up on Wednesday, which was the crude oil trade, crude oil futures. There were a couple of scares that we might hit the stop loss. There, I left the trade alone, and we were able to make $750 with our crude oil trade right there. And then the other trade that we won was the 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 BTC, the Bitcoin trade right there. This was a beautifully set up trade for us. We went through the why as to why we got into the trade on our last video, but really quickly to recap, the trend was broken. Was We lost this trade right here. This was the first trade that we lost. Remember, right there. And then we got into a buy because of the trend line break on our previous trend line right there. On the second push up, we thought it was going to go into the all-time highs again, and so we got into a second trade. That was a loss. And then the final trade was this candle, and then we not only waited for that first confirmation. I wanted to wait for the second confirmation and see how the candle closed. We're on a 1 hour chart right now, and the candle closed well below the previous the lower high right there with the upward trend breaking. And so we took the trade. It's going on for good for a while. Kind of went against us for a little bit, so had to hold our nerve. Stop loss was way above there, so that was always a good thing. And then today morning we were able to capitalize on it, and looks like it's even going to go further down. But looks like we've uh, that was a ideal trade right there, and be able to make a nice $750 with that trade as well. So overall, some great trades over towards the the final part of the week. We've had a couple of hiccups with this the Bitcoin trade. A couple of trades that kind of went against us. I felt like this was a good trade to get in, but the market does what the market does. So great job with that trade as well. So overall, like I said, we took 8 trades for the week, and we've been able to capitalize on it, and you know um, be able to come out on top. And the reason again is because and this is something that we always talk about, the well, two things, right? First, I think it's consistency, and then the second thing, I believe it is, you know whatever the trading strategy you have, it is important to be consistent and then have a good risk to reward ratio. With my trades, we talked about this before as well. It's either, so you have to have a fixed losing amount. Let's say, in my case, my fixed losing amount is 500. So whatever the stop loss, how far away or how closer to the stop loss we are. Whenever we fix the stop loss, in my case, I make sure that my stop loss equals to $500. So with the lot sizes that you take, we need to be able to uh, have a stop loss with the proper lot size that will give us that $500 loss amount. So that's kind of what I'm prepared to lose. And then with my take profits, it's either 1.5 risk to reward ratio or 2 risk to reward ratio. So if I'm what that means is that if I'm going to lose 500, I would want to make at least 750 on the minimum, and on the high end, I want to make 1,000. Right. So depending on where my stop loss is, like even in this case, right, we could have moved and got a 1 to 2 risk to reward ratio, but going safely and then making that that risk to reward ratio make meaning to you. So this way, at the end of the week, it becomes easier for me to understand how much I've lost, how much I won. Now let's say in for example, if this $500 was different every single time on these trades, then what happens is the trades that are positive, if it's only 750, and let's say on this trade it's 500, on the next trade it's 700, then really doesn't make sense, because you don't have a fixed loss or a fixed take profit area. So either it's take profit, either it's pip wise or points wise or money wise, whatever that may be. For example, if it is point wise, make sure you're losing 50 to get either 75 or 100, or in this case, or percentage wise, right? Whatever that may be, make sure that it makes sense to you. So I think we've had a solid week. I was kind of aiming for that 2,000, 2,500 mark this week, but I'm gonna take what the market gives me. Again, what I have is a very simple strategy. I don't have anything too crazy. I go with trend lines and a little simple small moving average sometimes, but that's it. So my strategy is not that complicated. But what I do though is make sure that I have a good risk to reward ratio, and then consistent with that risk to reward ratio versus my strategy. So I think if you're not following my signals, if you haven't signed up to receive my signals, that's fine. Even if you have a like a 60 to 50 to 60% win rate, if you have a good consistency and then a good risk to reward ratio, you should be able to come out on top. So it's kind of what I wanted to go over this week. Has been a great week, and it was a great Friday. It's always nice to see you know profits right at the end of the week. Now, do we have had weeks that we are negative? Yes, right. But we make sure when we are negative, we are not running away with my negatives. And I'll give you an example. Like on this case, right? You will ask me, why is it 240 or why is it 60? The idea is that I'm never going to go above 500 as a loss. So whenever I see, and we talked about this in an earlier video, like on this case, I probably had a theory, and we went over. Remember, with every single trade I on a weekly basis, I go over why I take these trades. So let's say my theory kind of breaks and it's going against me a little bit, and if it is not something that I'm really comfortable with, I'm okay with taking losses, right? Same thing with my this loss right here. So if I feel like it's going against me, in fact, this one could have been a profit. But again, my theory is broken, not really comfortable or consistent with my what I was thinking earlier, then I would take my loss and cut my losses quickly. So that's kind of what I do. But right now, I think the main understanding here is that making sure that we are um, going with a good understanding of why we are trading, and then good take profit stop loss with good risk to reward ratio, and we should be fine. Anyway, so that's kind of what I wanted to go over today. Please do subscribe and like if you like what you guys see. If you want to join our signals group, you will see a link right below our video, a Telegram link that you can click on and ask me any questions. We are very transparent with what we do. We do post all of these trades on our live chat, and then on YouTube as well, so you understand every single trade as to why we take it and why we not. So Again, thank you for joining. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend, and I'll catch you next week. Bye.